the Honorable Dr. Akan Suver, to our friends and our partners at the Marmara Foundation, to our brothers and sisters from Turkey and our brothers and sisters here in Turkey with us on this very special occasion, coming together in the name of peace and cooperation. Cooperation at the level of politics, at the level of economics, and for us, very close to our hearts, cooperation in the field of culture. Many of you may not know this, but about 15 years ago, the Institute for Cultural Diplomacy created a new academic field, the field of cultural diplomacy. We didn't create the practice. The practice has been going on for centuries and centuries, as one looks at the initial forms of academic exchange, Goethe Institute, British Council, or the very impressive Yunus Emre Institute, relatively recent development from Turkey. So most of our work is actually in the field of education. We offer the first MA, MBA, and PhD programs in the field of cultural diplomacy with students from around the world. However, from time to time, opportunities come where we also have a chance to make an impact in the real world. This is what we call the initiatives of the Institute for Cultural Diplomacy. Some of you may have heard of the work we've been doing for the last decade in Palestine and in Israel. You also may have heard of a relatively recent initiative that our one board member, Tazmina Ahmed Sheikh, will mention also tomorrow, the Interparliamentary Alliance for the Empowerment of Women in the Economy and Diplomacy, with a special emphasis on women. And today, we actually wanted to use the occasion here at the gathering of the Marmara Foundation to announce one of our newest developments with a focus on Lebanon. And in order to make that announcement, I'd be very grateful if 3 of our advisory board members would please join me to the podium. They can say much more eloquently than I the project that we're hoping to launch now in Lebanon. So I'd be very grateful if, first of all, actually all together, the Honorable Professor Hassan Diab, the former Prime Minister of Lebanon, if you could please join me to the stage. Also the Honorable Reed Khoury, former Minister of Economy and Trade of Lebanon, and the Honorable Professor Ghada Karim Atta, former Minister of Refugees in Lebanon, could please also join me on the stage. Ladies and gentlemen, we wanted to take this opportunity here in this beautiful city of Istanbul with our partners of the Marmara Foundation to say, okay, this is a city which serves as a bridge in so many ways between cultures, between nations, between peoples. We really thought no better occasion to announce the work that we're hoping to do very soon in Lebanon. It's called the Paris Initiative for Stability, Development in Lebanon. And I'd be really grateful if Professor Diab could say a few words. What is this initiative, and how do you think now we can have an impact in Lebanon?
Thank you, Mark. Well, this is the first opportunity I have to publicly thank Marmara Group Foundation for their kind invitation, allowing us to make many new friends. Let me start by saying, because I'm a kamikaze, because I love my country, because I don't run away from responsibility, I accepted to become the first Prime Minister elected in December 2019, at a time when classical politicians were running away from the task because they all knew that there was a political tornado as far as financial crisis that is coming. Now, I formed my cabinet in January 2020. This was the closest to the specification of a technocrat cabinet in the history of Lebanon, because I was an independent politician. I didn't belong to any political party. I was an academician. I was a professor. I was a technocrat. So I got ministers that look like me. And in fact, ladies, you may be interested to know that this is the first cabinet in the history of the MENA region. That's 22 Arab countries that had 30% women in it. And I might add, in very important positions: Deputy Prime Minister, Minister of Justice, Minister of Defense, Minister of Labor, and so on. And the lady here is one of the ministers in my cabinet. So going back to what Mark was referring to, the moment we got confidence from the parliament, the crisis started. And usually when there's a financial crisis in any country, it's 1 or 2 crises. We were faced with 7 crises at the same time. It was mentioned by many countries as the worst crisis in any country in the world for many decades. We basically faced the currency crisis. For 27 years, from 93 until 2019, the exchange rate for the dollar was 1,505 Lebanese pounds. Suddenly, somebody pressed a button somewhere. In August 2019, started increasing until eventually it became 90,000 Number two, inflation. Obviously, inflation, I mean, the value of the Lebanese pound went down by 60 times, so inflation obviously followed. Number three, banking system collapse. Not a single bank, the full banking system collapsed. Again, because of many reasons, Minister Raed Khouri, who is former Minister of Economy, would tell you more about that. But my understanding is that usually banks invest 20 or 30%, 35% of their savings, not 80 or 90%. Anyway, number four, mismanagement and corruption. It's a country where there is theft, but there are no thieves. Somehow, at least until now. Number five, the absence of economic reforms. Number six, public debt crisis. Our debt when we went in 2020 was 93 billion. The debt to GDP was 270% in 2020, one of the highest in the world. I think the second highest or the third highest at the time. That's not considering the $69 billion black hole in the central bank, which we were honest enough as a cabinet to talk about rather than throw under the carpet. Of course, the central bank was against us. No, it's not that. Now they're saying it is $69 billion after the forensic audit was carried out. Number seven, social and humanitarian consequences. So there was a need for a social safety network, which we did during our phase. And of course, all of that came with COVID-19, the first case in February. And we handled that very well. In fact, there was a Washington article in the Washington Post in early July that said the US could learn a thing or two from small countries such as Lebanon on how to handle COVID. So these are the issues. By the way, my cabinet established and unanimously approved the first reform plan to deal with these financial and economic crises, which was supported and commended by the World Bank, by the European Union, and by the IMF. But some parliamentarians were against it because of what we said, $69 billion black hole in the central bank. And, you know, obviously they didn't allow this to go through the parliament. Now they're going back to the same reform plan in order. So the Paris Initiative is about that. It's a 10-year initiative. Each year we're going to talk about topics related to these issues in order to come up with recommendations, a white paper that Lebanon, the government, any agencies, local or foreign, can benefit from in order to put back Lebanon on track, whether we're talking about financially or socially or economically, banking system-wise, and so on. So I don't want to take more time than that to allow more time for Minister Khouri to talk about economic issues and Minister Ghada Shrain to talk about reform issues. Please.
Hello again. Just because we have a limited time, the financial crisis in Lebanon started in 2019. And as Dr. Diab was saying, it's the most severe crisis ever in the history of the world. The GDP came down from $55 billion to $25 billion in 1 year. I'm not going to go into the main reasons for the crisis, but briefly, it was the crowding out of the government funds effect. The government and the central bank absorbed liquidity from the banking sector by the method of the carrot and the stick at the same time. And the government and the central bank were subsidizing the government from the reserve, i.e. from the depositors' money, all through the last 30 years, until the crisis happened. So mainly that's it. But again, since 2019 till now, the governments have been trying to sign with the IMF in order to get Lebanon on track. Now, I think after 5-6 years, we strongly believe that the time has come. And as you all know, after such crisis, opportunities will arise. And now Lebanon assets and Lebanon real estate and other opportunities are at extremely cheap prices. Lebanon is a small country where can recover very quickly. The main sources of Lebanon is the Lebanese themselves, who are expats. They are more than 4 times the population of Lebanon, and they have huge amount of wealth and success stories. And they are all waiting for a signal to come back to Lebanon. This is as investors and as citizens. This is not, let alone the Gulf, who used to always invest in Lebanon, and I think it's the opportunity now to do it, and that's why we are here to talk about it, and the Paris Initiative will go into this direction in order for everybody to benefit, the Lebanese and all the investors. Thank you.
Good afternoon. I don't want to repeat what Mr. Diab's PM and my colleague said, but we hope through Paris Initiative to implement effective measures to resolve our problems or a part of our problems, especially the lack of reforms. We hope to put the reforms on track again, and then also to lead with another big problem, the Syrian displaced. As you know, we have more than 1 million of Syrian displaced in our small country, and this displacement is very dangerous for our stability, for our social and economical stability. We need to find solutions to deal with, to find an issue, and to have the opportunity to live in peace, economical, in social, economical, and education, and peace. So that's why we hope that through Paris Initiative, through conferences, through roadmaps, to find the solutions to a part, at least to a part of our problems. And thank you.
Well, thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you for your attention. Thank you again, Dr. Souver. And now it's really up to us at a time when the world is closing doors almost everywhere we look as we look at the news. Here we see a window opening. So we invite your advice, your support, your cooperation. We'd be very, very happy. We'll be here the next few days. And thank you so much for your attention. And also thank you again, Dr. Souver.
Thank you so much, Donfried.